giving people concussions by throwing hot scalding coffee at them, living in an old woman's walls, killing the homeless, and drinking at work are all things you're contractually obligated to do in Shadows of Doubt. Well, that is of course if you accept the contract. You can just say no if you want to. Shadows of Doubt is a simulation of how the world would look if Coca-Cola kept the Coke. In this very real point of view of living in 2001 Colombia, a large cola company has taken over the world. Therefore, I am a detective that works with the cola company and uses a worrying amount of pills combined with soda. This future also includes a variety of injection-based bio upgrades that can be used to efficiently deal with the homeless. Alright, listen, I don't know why I am a detective or why I hate the homeless. I just know that there is a large amount of questions that need answers. Like, why are there no working cars? Why can I do this? And why the fuck do we live on a square island in the middle of the ocean? Our story starts somewhere in January. I don't really follow time. I was warming my hands on a barrel fire with a homeless guy, as I was just thrown out of the local bar for saying some pretty radical things about how communism had something to do with Jack Black being in the new Minecraft movie. I might also have started stealing and throwing bottles of booze at the bar owner. Unrelated to anything I just really said, I had to get a job since I was running pretty low on money. To be honest, the job opportunities in the city are fucking weird, but it kinda makes sense since there are a lot of criminals and just weird people. Like, where are the hot dogs? You just have pepper, mustard, and a fucking C-set battery. Where are the hot dogs? After pondering about this crucial matter for like 2 minutes, I found the nearest job booth. Now, the jobs I was presented with were varied. From muscle needed for a destruction job, a creepy letter where photographic skills were required, and those were the only two. There weren't any more jobs. I decided to do the destruction job, as I didn't have a camera. And I can't really take pictures without a camera. After I accepted the job, I was instructed to tell the staff a magic word to get further information. I then went up to the nearest worker and told him the code word. He then proceeded to give me a picture of a see-through building. Of course, this didn't help me at all, so I got pretty pissed off and thought he might be pulling a cruel joke on me. So I followed him into the bathroom. I then started to harass him. A lot. While he was shitting, I started offering him money for his personal information and even pretended to be a health inspector, which did not work. So I asked to buy something, thinking that he would have to walk out without wiping and get me some stinky tofu. But no, he used some ancient technique to magically make the stinky tofu appear in my inventory. Out of pure confusion and sadness, I proceeded to sit down on the toilet and eat my stinky tofu whilst planning my next move. I could not for the life of me locate the place I was supposed to go, so I made a sticky note to remember to take down the staff member that decided to do this cruel joke on me. As I walked around for any clues at all really, I noticed a pinboard with the names of all the staff. Hello, Carys Petit. All I needed to do now was find the local phone booth and locate the residency of Carys Petit, and then wait in the shadows of his home until he would have to go home from work. As I was walking over to his apartment, I got a massive prompt that a murder had been committed and that I should investigate, as I am a detective after all. I also beat up and killed a homeless guy, but none of that really matters, as I had bigger plans. When I arrived at Carys Petit's place, the front door was locked. Now, why on earth would you lock your door unless you have something to hide? After entering his apartment, I started picking through his valuables and collecting the most prized artifacts he had. As I entered the bedroom, I noticed that he had a lot of interesting items, like tampons, birth control, and a pair of high-heel shoes. I mean, he might just be a cross-dresser that is very invested and serious about it. But more importantly, I found a safe in the corner, which of course, because the game sucks, needed a code. So I started looking through his files and yeah, Carys Petit is a woman, a lesbian woman that lives with another woman, which would explain all the girl stuff. I mean, it was a pretty far-fetched to say that he was a cross-dresser that shoved tampons up his ass. Well, woman or not, I'm still going to rob her and beat her up. As I was looking for the safe code, I also found a bunch of crumpled up hidden letters that seemed like the writing of someone who would be in a cult. As I said, Why lock your doors if you have nothing to hide? I had a lot of waiting time on my hand before Carys actually came home, so to kill time I started trashing her whole apartment. Mostly by throwing synthetic meat on the walls. Yeah, I might have overdone it. Like, I used too much energy on throwing this fake beef. I mean, I could have done a lot in this time. I could have gone down to the pawn shop and pawned my stuff. I could have read a book. I could have done something other than throwing fucking fake beef at walls for like 15 minutes. When what I thought was Carys Petit entered the apartment, I quickly beat her up with a hammer until she was unconscious. I then used their freaky bedside handcuffs and dragged her into the bedroom to question her. The first thing I noticed was that she was not Carys Petit, since Carys Petit was, well, not black. I tried asking for her name, but she apparently thought she was in a position to say no. So I gave her $100 for her name, even though I had just given her a concussion with a hammer. After checking that she was indeed Carys Petit's alleged girlfriend, I asked her for a little piece of change. She then handed me $1 and blatantly lied to my face about how much money she had, since I had just given her a crisp 100. I tried to get more information out of her, but the only thing she said was that something was stinky. Therefore, I decided to throw a metal bucket at her face repeatedly, until I realized that I was the thing that smelled bad. So I did the only logical thing and went and took a shower in her bathroom whilst she was still cuffed to the ground. After that nice shower, I went and got myself some sleep whilst waiting for Carys Petit. As Carys Petit decided to never show up, I decided to leave her a little message by throwing her girlfriend out of a window. After I thought I had killed her, I also tried to burn down the apartment by throwing paper on a lit stove. I did not manage to do so I decided to leave. And as I opened the door, Carys Petit's girlfriend, which I just fucking threw off the 5th floor, magically appeared inside a wall. She then started lagging my game and ran out and activated the local security system. I saw no other option but escaping through the vents. As I slowly waddled through the cold metal construct, I wondered, what is Carys Petit doing? Is he at a cult meeting? Is this cult maybe the reason her girlfriend has fucking superpowers? I came to the conclusion that I don't really care anymore at all, and then I went for a drink, as I am a raging alcoholic. After I'd filled my sorrows with alcohol, I went home to my own apartment. Wait. I don't have a home. Am I really homeless? No, I can't be homeless. I'm not the same as the people I beat up for fun as a morning exercise. As I realized that I was actually homeless, a wave of desperation hit me as I started looking for any apartment that could be bought with the equivalent of a dead mouse and 2 beer cans. But I was too poor to find any place at all. I have like 5 schmeckel coins, or whatever they're fucking called. The point is, I'm poor and homeless, and I'm not gonna let that be the case. So I guess I actually have to play the game in a non-schizophrenic way. I hate these games. Begrudgingly, I started walking slowly over to City Hall to pick up the boring murder case from earlier, so I could hopefully finance an apartment and maybe some NFTs and some crypto, a nice poster, and I'm getting sidetracked. The bastard's nickname was the Red Gum Reaper. I had many questions for this killer, like why was the red gum not is the gum red because red equals blood? And I also need to find answers to the questions which I actually get paid for. What is the killer's name? Where does he live? And what is his favorite color? By the way, just so you don't get confused, I'm going to stick with Red Gum Killer, as I don't want to mess up and get a strike for saying the wrong word. To start my investigation, I set a route for the first address mentioned in the report. And would you not believe it, the apartment where the murder was committed just happened to be next to the bar where Carys Petit works. Suspicious? Anyone? As I climbed to the 5th floor of the complex and walked towards the victim's apartment, I was met with the sound of an incoming phone call from inside the apartment. I tried to answer the phone, but it must have been a prank call as the other line was just static. I made the decision to completely ignore this and not trace the call at all, as it was probably just some loser kids. I started investigating the corner of the room where the body was, and immediately I noticed some cult-looking graffiti on the ground around the body, like some gay little sacrifice. Searching the body gave me the information that it was was shot by a supposed small handgun. When continuing my search in the apartment, I found the wallet of our victim, Kalshnavi Pednecker. What a fucking stupid name. I understand why they killed this bitch. I also found a worrying amount of creepy letters written in red, like one that said "Let's play," and then I had some sort of code that I had to decipher, and another one that was just a straight up threat. Also, there were notes written by our victim that talked about a stalker or a creepy person who kept looking through her windows and standing outside her door. In the bedroom, I found an unusual amount of pistol rounds and rifle ammunition at her bedside table, which is weird because I didn't find any gun in the apartment. Looking through her files in the closet, I found out that she had a girlfriend which also lived with her. This is a very progressive city, as I've noticed there are a lot of lesbians. The last suspicious thing I found was a diary of logs probably written by our victim, which detailed the sightings of someone. Could it be our killer, or is she just a fucking weirdo? Before leaving, I scanned down the apartment for prints. I found 2 prints, one belonging to our victim and one unknown. The unknown print was probably the victim's girlfriend, which to be honest I have no idea how to locate. So I guess the only thing I can do now is go to the next murder scene, which is in the exact same building complex as Carys Petit's apartment. Seems like a lot of coincidences are piling up and pointing their finger at one person. No matter, I went down to the basement where the murder had been committed. It took some time to find the right apartment as there were no nameplates on any of the doors, they were just unnamed. But in the end, I found it. And wow, what a fucking shithole. Cardboard boxes everywhere, shit on the floor, clothes on the floor, a dead body on the floor. I mean, that probably wasn't there earlier. By these living standards, I think this is probably a suicide. Jokes aside, I actually started investigating. Searching the body told me that this victim was also killed by a handgun like the last one. When I was looking around, I also found her purse. And guess what? The stupid name killer strikes again, with gory sadness. Something else which the victims had in common was the creepy letters. This time it was another riddle, which I made room for in my pocket by throwing away a priceless family heirloom that I stole from some random guy. Our victim had also written down some logs about a man who was harassing and following her. She had even sent a complaint to her building manager and asked for camera footage of the guy. There wasn't too much more information in the apartment, except for the little fact that our victim had a girlfriend. And if you can't use your eyes, it's clear that this is also a cult sacrifice like our last victim. There wasn't anything else like at all. I was pretty stunned, so I think I might need some alcohol to solve this case. As there was nothing more I could do but wait for the next murder, I started looking over everything we had found so far. First, I got down everything the 2 victims had in common. Most importantly, they were both women, lesbian women, and both share a connection to Carys Petit. Carys Petit is an occult, she works close to the first victim and lives in the same building as the other victim. Yeah, they don't have too much else in common really, but we do have a lot of info about the killer and his methods. Firstly, he is stated to be a male at around an average height. Secondly, the killer is in some weird freaky cult. Thirdly, the killer uses a handgun to kill his victims. Fourthly, he stalks and harasses the victims before killing them. And last but not least, the killer leaves notes and clues for me, the detective. I tried, as you can see in the speed lapse, but in the end neither my brain or Scrabble UK could help me. So I resorted to doing what I do best. Still no murder, huh? I probably just have to wait then. Finally, a new murder. When I realized that this murder was also committed in Carys Petit's building, I was a bit worried. Maybe it was another lesbian. I had to find out. I was actually early for once, so early in fact that the police were still at the scene, so I had to play some cat and mouse with them until they left. Before even finding the body, I found something new: bullet casings. The killer's getting sloppy. I went to the body and started analyzing it. same cult markings, and the same method of killing. The same story goes about the threatening letters from the killer and schizo writings from the victim, all identical. So you might think I got nowhere with this case, except there was one major difference in the victim. It was not a woman this time, and the cherry on top, he was gay. Nothing else big really, some blood puddles, and yeah, I might have also found the killer's fingerprint on one of the bullet casings, but no biggie. As I was walking back to the bar to continue my drinking, like everyone does, I stopped at a vending machine to get a cola. Then I noticed something called Sugar Daddy. I first thought that it might be some introduction ritual for local pimps, but I read the description and wow, I get 5,000 credits for completely free with no downsides. Why the fuck have I been trying to find a serial killer when I can just use this to afford an apartment? Yeah, apparently I have to level up something called a social skill to buy an apartment. You know what, just fuck this, I'm gonna go be homeless. Yep, that's it. The end. Now, I might eventually return to this godforsaken game, but I kinda had to get this video out as I have not posted in a while, because my PC fried itself in the middle of making another video, so it took some time. If you like this video, I'm really surprised, but just give me a like and sub, as I need to start getting paid for this shit soon. And if you guys want, I'll return to this game and actually solve some shit. That's it, you can go now.